In this week's episode of Divine Oracle Reading podcast, we're going to be taking a look actually at karma, or in the words actually of karma and the effects so that it can cause you. We've all heard the terms, what you give is what you get. Join us tonight with this episode, and also join us with our special guest, Tatiana, all the way from California.
Join Divine Oracle Readings. Your host, Gypsy Lady Eva and Brother Chris, discuss spiritual topics and current events. You could have listened to the radio. You could have spun some vinyl. You could have played a cassette tape. But you listened to Divine Oracle Readings on Unique Spotify.
Welcome everybody, welcome to this wonderful show. Today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about karma and Eva. I know that you're on the other side, so how are you doing today? I know not the other side of spirits, but how are you doing today?
Come with me to the dark side.
I'm sorry. I have to tell you, the humor, I love the humor that the universe has given me. I wear a wound vacuum, and I have it on my chest, or I wear it around the neck so that if I'm moving around, I don't have to worry about tripping over it. And this little kid saw me, and he goes, "Darth Vader!" And I looked at him, I said, "Yes, son, I am your mother." He was so excited.
Yes. All right, and we have our special guest actually on the line. Should we bring her in, Eva?
Pardon?
Should we bring our special guest in?
Oh, of course.
All right. So our special guest has known me for 49 years. We go way back. She's probably has horror stories about me or comical stories. She is actually one of my cousins, though, and her name is Tatiana. So welcome, Tatiana.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Yes. So I know so that you are actually on a different time zone than we are, which is so awesome. Hopefully it's good weather down there today.
Wonderful. It's beautiful and it's warm. It's actually like a little bit too warm.
I noticed though that you are a spiritual empowerment coach. Can you sort of let actually our viewers know about that?
Yes, I can. Basically, what it is like helping people see their true potential by helping them overcome negative, toxic thoughts and limiting beliefs, and providing some tools to help them do that little mind shift change on a regular basis so that they can truly live their true potential. Basically through your website, if they just send you an email and then say, "Hey, I want to get hold of that crazy, wacky cousin that of yours back in California," uh, or they can do that, or they can send me an email at tatiana.dbcoach at gmail.com, and DB stands for Dream Builder. So that's tatiana.d as in dream, B as in builder, coach at gmail.com, so that I can help you build your dreams to be who you want, who God has truly created you to be.
All right. Well, that's wonderful. And tonight's topic that we're talking about, though, is the 12 laws of karma. And I'm going to pass it over to my colleague, which is Eva.
Hello. I was just thinking, and you better be careful, or my karma will run over I'll use my karma and I'll run over your dogma. An oldie, but a goodie.
I have not heard that one. I'm thinking like, oh, better than having dogma, because you don't want dogma hanging out.
No, that would be catastrophic. Okay, grown all together. Oh.
Oh.
You should know, Tatiana, Chris will tell you, I am a terrible punster. I like to do those little things. But we're talking about karma. And karma is a very strong force in the universe. And, I've talked with Christians who like, oh, karma is that stuff from it's like, no, it's in every religion. If you read the scriptures, do unto others as you would have others do unto you. And I can go through, I was trying to find the one thing that kind of explained different aspects of the same karmic laws that are found everywhere. They're just
Mhm.
said a little bit different. But then again, let's look at accents. I say south, other people say, well, y'all go south, So it's that kind of a thing. It's just a different accent on the same thing. And we have the Christians, I shouldn't say the Christians have the 10 commandments, but karma has 12. They give you a little more, what's the word? Leeway, if you will.
Mm.
But they have deep meaning. And where do we want to go with that? Or does Tatiana, do you want to add
Well,
anything to that?
I think basically when we're talking about karma, it's universal laws, and it doesn't matter what religion or faith you are, whether you're atheist or not, or agnostic, those laws will be applicable to you as well as having a deep spiritual faith in the Christian, Muslim, or Judaic God. Like the laws are universal. And what I was, what I was reading earlier today about the laws of karma was it was like a boomerang. Whatever you throw out, you get back. And that is an example of how karma works. It just shows the depth, receptivity, and intention of karma. Is if you use it as example as a boomerang. And I thought, like, wow, I never heard it put that way, but I thought it was very, very explicit, because we all know how a boomerang works.
The paranormal can happen at any time, so that's why our Etsy store is always open. Get your paranormal items from cleansing to protection to attraction, all available now on our Etsy store. Search Haunting Live.
Explore the Stratford Perth Museum with Trevor Bishop and Chris the Rock, both from Haunting Live Podcast and Divine Oracle Readings. They have been seen on national television shows and heard on radio stations throughout North America. This is your chance to explore this wonderful house and the haunting history that's within the building. September 10th, why not come out to the Stratford Perth Museum for the Indigenous Arts and Craft Market for celebration with the Cedar Hill Drumming Corps and Dancers. This is absolutely free on September 10th from 10 a.m. till 5 p.m. Another great podcast to listen to is Haunting Live Podcast with your host Trevor, interviewing tons of people throughout the world. Listen on any of your podcast providers.
Be sure to check out our new website at hauntinglivepodcast.com. That's again check out hauntinglivepodcast.com.
Now back to the show.
The great karma law, or the first karma law of karma, is that our thoughts, our actions, our choices, our decisions all have good or bad consequences. And I would add and or instead of just or, because you can do the same thing, but if your intent is not the same, it can be a bad thing or it can be a good thing, depending on how everything plays out with what you're doing. And the listing that goes with this is, as ye sow, so shall ye reap. And I think that's a very positive, or a very good way to look at it. You look at, like we were talking a little bit earlier, any way you look at it, that same law is found in a lot of different religions. And one example I can think of is from the ancient Egyptians. Ancient Egyptians. Do for one who may do for you, that you may cause him thus to do good. That's the ancient Egyptians. And it goes back even further. That's just moving up in time. And you can start looking at philosophies, and they have the same idea. So it is a universal law. And I think a lot of us have lost sight of that. And I think it's time we started taking it into consideration, as you say, no matter what, religion, philosophy, or if you have no beliefs whatsoever, spiritual
And
type.
And
But
I think we need to expand people's concept of that as well, instead of just saying good or bad, because that can be potentially triggering, good or bad. But, to say it has positive or it has negative consequences, or it has beneficial or not so beneficial, it could actually be harmful consequences. So if we do that law, as you reap what you sow, if you actually had those like more descriptive words in the back of your head, like beneficial, harmful, then I think that would help people think twice more of what they do, and when they actually do have that awareness of what they've done.
and I think today in so many, I'm sorry.
Oh, no. I was just going to say, it's like, because there's so many times like we've done something and then after the fact, we realize, oh my gosh, that was not a very nice thing to do. And then, but it's really
Yes.
taken time to think like, oh, that was very potentially damaging. Not
Well,
necessarily to the person, not necessarily to the person I'm interacting with, but to the person that that other people see our behavior, and that so much to that interaction, but it's the other people that see how we've interacted with others.
well, and I look at what's happening in especially in the United States right now with everything, and it's like I feel like we have lost our moral compass.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, wake up, people. And you can go and shout it from the rooftops, or the mountaintops, but nothing will happen. It means nothing. Okay, now we're moving on to the second one, which is the law of creation.
Mm-hmm.
And that is it's kind of like what we desire comes through participation, and it means that no matter what we do, it goes along with what you were saying. No matter what we do, there are consequences. And I think people no longer realize what that means. And if you do it with, I hate to use this word, but let's play with that. If you do something with evil intentions, bad intentions, play the word for whatever you want, it's going to come back to you, and it's going to, yeah, you may spread a lot of evil, but it is going to come back to you, whether you want it to or not. It's going to hit you right between the eyes, and you don't have a choice.
And I have a perfect example of that, because I know years ago, before I really realized how powerful my thoughts were, when I thought kindly of people, if I was going to a social gathering, I had a lot more just general good well-being conversation. But if I went into that social situation thinking like, she's not a nice person and they're never really nice to me and they don't talk to me and blah, 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 all of those kind of thoughts of insecurity, or not necessarily purposeful antagonism, but anything that was not of that kindness and love, I had the worst social interactions ever, and literally everybody ignored me. So I feel that even now, I feel that. So that's why for me, that law of creation, it really comes from the thoughts that I think. And so if people can understand, the universe does not honor duplicity. So if I'm thinking she's not a nice person, but I go to her face, I'll go, oh, hi, how are you? Aren't you the sweetest person? The universe knows there's not going to be a positive reception to that encounter.
Just a recent example, I was in a facility for some physical problems, and I went in with, I'm not going to be causing any problems. I'm just going to do my thing and let them do the. And I had all kinds of positive, wonderful experiences. So, I mean, it works. It does. And people don't believe that, because it's like, well, that's so simple. Yeah. The universe does not.
Simple. When we really get rid of it, when we're stuck in trauma, pain, rejection, abandonment, all those kind of emotions, we cannot see that truth. But the healthier we become, the more we realize it really is about love and just allowing that flow.
I'm thinking of the Beatles song, love, love, love.
Love
All you need is love.
is love, love, love.
Number 3, the law of humility. And I don't know if
Humility goes a long way. And humility doesn't mean like you're down, you're a doormat. That's not humility, but it's that kindness and gentleness that the respect and honor that you give to other people. That's humility.
and I like the way it's stated here. It's the accepting the circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
Once you accept the circumstances, then you can go in and maybe change them. I don't know if we really can change them as much as accepting what's going to happen or what is happening. Um, uh, I think the harshest thing about that is refusing to accept it.
Mm-hmm.
If you say, like, I hate to keep using myself as an example, but it's the best I have. I have a wound that I had a little setback. I was depressed. And it's like, no, wait a minute. You were healing when you were really positive. You were really healing great. So I really changed my thought. And within 2 days,
Mm-hmm.
that wound had closed. It was not much, but it was closing. And even the doctor was saying, it is looking great. And I'm going like, so there is an example of accepting what is and dealing with it.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean you have to go off into a corner someplace and go like, oh, it's all bad. It's all bad. I know it is. That's not the way it is. You can live with it and change it, or you can go off into a corner and cry. And I'm not going to sit in a corner and cry.
Yep.
Anybody else? Okay, let's go to number 4, the law of growth. And that one, they kept it very simplistic, but my thought with that one is it is simple, but it's not as simple. It's that we take charge of ourselves, and by doing that, we learn what paths we can take to let us grow.
Mm-hmm. That is true. I remember when I read in Think and Grow Rich, over a decade ago. I think it was probably about a decade ago. And it was like, you're master of your own fate. And it was like, it really came into conflict with like, but God's in charge. It's God's will. But it's really what I do inside. It's what I believe. It's what I do. And it's how I do it. And so it really is. It's like I'm in partnership with God and the universal laws, but it's still me. So you're seeing something outside.
Pardon?
I said, you're obviously seeing something outside.
Yes, the clouds are moving in such a way that there's a darkness, but the sun is shining through, and there's this broad beam of sunlight hitting down on the woods that's on our farm, was our farm. And it's like, okay, we're heading in the right direction.
There you go.
We go to 5, which is the law of responsibility. Right. And as simple as that sounds, it's one of the hardest ones to deal with, because I think so many times we don't want to accept the responsibility for our actions. And
our future.
Our lives are how we make it. And if it doesn't turn out the way we want it, it's like, well, no matter what I do, why should I do it? Because it's not going to turn out right anyway. Well, that's not
But
it.
it's a lot easier to blame someone else for how your life hasn't turned out. It's a lot easier to blame and shift than to take responsibility. And that's one of the stages of growth, is to learn to take that responsibility. So like, whoa, I am in charge. Eek.
And the other thing is, on the flip side of that is, we also have to learn to say thank you to the people who helped us along the way.
Yes.
That's just as important as anything else, because that's, again, going back to the great karmic law.
Mm-hmm.
Give and ye shall receive. Okay, number 6 is the law of connection. And I love that one, because basically what it is saying is we are all connected, whether we want to be or not.
Mm-hmm.
We all, well, it's just basically saying everything is connected, and our past, our present, our future, our over there and over there, they're all connected. It's all a part of who and what we are.
It's like years ago, I was told you cannot heal in isolation.
Nope.
You can't grow in isolation. You can't heal in isolation. You can live in isolation, but you won't thrive in isolation. And so we are all connected. And it's true. It's the healthier a person becomes when they've like taken out more of those limiting thoughts and all that kind of stuff, they really do realize we are connected. And the more you engage with the synchronicity of life, the more you realize we are connected. And it's beautiful, because then one can become, and once you embrace that, then it's almost like you grow at a greater, faster rate than before, when you didn't understand it.
And it also gives you a better insight to what the universe is all about. The law of focus. I'm sorry, what'd you say? No. Sorry about that. I couldn't resist it. The law of focus. And it means that sometimes the smallest event or circumstance or whatever task that we're dealing with, even the smallest one, needs our attention. It's not something to be, oh, I'll take care of that later, or let's see, I'm just trying to think of some examples. Feel free to jump in, you two.
Well, it's like if you're trying to get ready for work, and you know that you're supposed to be packing lunch or packing your bag, yet you get distracted by, picking up the socks and, sorting your laundry, or putting like papers away, or stopping when you only have so much time, and playing a game on your phone or something. Instead of like getting gas today when I have time, I'm like, no, I can get gas tomorrow. Well, then tomorrow, you've got 1,001 things to do before you get to work, and then you're going to be late. So it's sort of like, it's that kind of that lack of attention to the details that are, that you can do right before you at this moment's notice, and allowing what I call like the emotional, the flesh. The flesh is wanting, like, you want that beer, or you want that game, or you want that, distraction. You don't want to do what you have to do. And then you allow that distraction to take precedence over your responsibility.
Very well said.
Yep.
I like that.
We can go on to the next one now.
Oh, okay. I don't want to. I want to stay with you. The next one is the law of hospitality, and giving. And it's where you kind of let that selfness go into selflessness.
Mm-hmm.
And we let all of our actions of the how can our beliefs become manifest into our actions. And it's not a hard law. It's a very easy one, and it's a challenge to some people because they feel like, how can I say it? If people
They're feeling
there are a
put
lot
out.
there are a lot of people out there who feel if they really show their true selves, people will be shocked.
Mm.
I've seen
Oh,
too
that's an
many
interesting
things.
way to look at it. Because as you were talking about it, I thought, just because it's the law of hospitality and giving doesn't mean that you have to entertain in your own home, because you can still have that law of hospitality and giving, when you're out at the supermarket, or you're on the workforce, or you shopping, or whatever social interaction. It's the hospitality is opening the invitation to another person and giving them that love and respect, acceptance, because you can be hospitable to the homeless man on the street, but that doesn't mean you're inviting him to your house to take a shower. You know, it's like, just that hospitality, giving them honor as a human being, showing them that they're part of God's creation or universe, they're part of universal love.
Sorry, yes, yes, yes. And it's so true, though. The reason why is because you can actually reach out your hand to your fellow man, even if the fellow man's actually on the street. You can actually do that quite a bit to them, right? And actually be able to show the love that way. Again, those I like that though that you guys had said though that you don't have to open up your door to your home or whatever. It's just being there for supportive for them is a great way.
Yes.
So, all right. So
Very well said.
our next one though.
The law of change. And it's kind of neat, the example that they use is history repeats itself unless there are changes.
Mm-hmm.
I think that says it perfectly. I know how many people, no matter what they do, they always seem to keep getting into this rut of the same thing happening again and again. The prime example I'm thinking is someone who takes a job and they all hate me there. I don't know why I want to stay there. I'm going to move. They get another job. They all hate me here. I'm not going to stay here. Next job, they hate me here. I'm not sure I want to stay here. And this goes on and on. And you just want to smack them up alongside the head and say, look, they aren't bad people. You're the one who's telling them that they're bad, so they're going to be bad.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I feel like this has been part of my life too. It's like, because I took the time to really recognize thoughts that I've been thinking, and and the feelings that I've been feeling, because I took time to recognize them and acknowledge them, and then realize those aren't the ones that I wanted for the rest of my life, and I changed them. I'm hooked since I've moved several months ago. I have so much more, you know, natural encounters, interactions with people, and things are like blossoming. I've never had, I haven't had this kind of open social schedule and invitation and all these kind of other things happening. It's because I did the work to change. And so because of that change, I'm now reaping the benefits of this new expanded life. And, and then because of that, I'm encountering other people that I can help and get them to change. But you don't tell people to change. You have to give them a carrot that they want. And if they can recognize that that's the carrot they want, then they'll change. But people won't change if you tell them they have to change, because they think they're perfect.
No, that is true. Change is basically very internal. And the one thing I can think of is a friend of mine who was a really bad alcoholic, and he finally saw the light. But it was at a point where he was ready to make that change, and it was just a clicking, moving down the path that he was able to make that change. And he is now, there are times I'd like to smack him because he gets so, I want to say, even evangelical about it, but I mean, he did it when he admits it. He was ready to change, and he had reached that point where it was, and he made the good change. And yeah, he's basically a good person to begin with, so it was not. But that lives into what you're saying, because it's true. Unless people are willing to change, you're not going to change them.
Yeah.
Even smacking them up a head along the side of the head, that doesn't work.
Sometimes it will work, but most of the time it still takes several interventions in order for it to really resonate.
Number 10, the law of here and now.
The present is all we have.
Yes, you're right.
That
You're
is
very
so
right.
true.
It just goes back to what one of my little mantras that carry me through life is, well, all I have is today. And that's all I have. And that's why they call it a present, or the present, because the past, how did that go? The past is one thing, the future is a gift, but the present is what we have now.
Yeah.
And it's true. You can make plans for the future, and that doesn't matter. You can sit there and say, well, there were good times in the past, but that doesn't matter. It's what you do right now. And now is the only time that you have. And
yeah, I live in a building though that's basically all seniors, and every single time whenever I get on the elevators, they're always asking me, "So how's your day going?" And I keep on saying it's always better than yesterday.
go to the 11th law, which is the law of patience and rewards. And every time I read that, I keep thinking of the little saying, "Oh Lord, grant me patience, but I want it now."
Yeah.
It does not work that way.
No. What I liked about this law, the law of patience and reward, and I think it was written in the paper that we're basically reading, is that real joy and happiness come during the journey, not when the journey is over. And if we can, the more that we can recognize that it's in the journey, and to be like the previous law of being present in the journey, it may suck and feel horrible and feel painful and all that kind of stuff, but all of that is going to come to a greater fruition of joy and happiness, and it's going to be a internal joy and happiness that is going to permeate everything that we do. So it's like the joy is truly in the moment and really is in the journey. And when we can recognize and have gratitude for our journey, even though it feels like it's sucky, it's going to be like you're going to reap what you're putting your mind into.
Yeah.
So that's what the patience and reward is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, my one teacher always told us, just remember, to have daylight, you first must have night.
Yeah.
And I mean, that always kind of stayed with me, because I always thought, yeah, but without daylight, you can't appreciate the night. So I think it's like we have to take this whole situation as it is, live it through, and then there's the reward.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to bring a point, because it's like the chicken and the egg. Which one came first? But the darkness precludes the light, and the light precludes the darkness. They're in contradiction to each other, but they support each other. And when we can recognize the darkness and the light in our own lives, or in our surroundings, then we will appreciate the journey. We'll appreciate as it happens.
And sometimes the journey is the best part.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to look at it that way too.
Yep. All right, what's the next
Okay.
one?
Yeah.
And the last law is the law of significance and inspiration. And all choices should have positive effects on people. Positive effects are what makes it all worthwhile. Because then you kind of look at every little thing added to the whole thing, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
And once you hit that, you got it. And you have
Yes.
lived the karmic laws.
Well, insignificance is like if we're choosing to do some, asking the universe, help me have the significance. And when I do something out of that and I'm present with what I'm doing, it's really to inspire others and inspire others either to give them love, give them hope, give them inspiration, give them like helping them along their journey. That's where our significance comes. And, it's sort of like that. It's that infinity symbol that goes around and around. Because as we just give that cup of water to the hurting person, they have the acceptance and hope and inspiration to be better. And that's really that's really what life is all about.
And it also gives you kind of I'm not sure the word to use, but remember that even the most, I'm just trying to think how to put this. Forgive me. These thoughts run through my head and they run faster than the rest of my body has to catch up. But everything we do with other people, you don't know what is going to be that moment of inspiration for someone else. So be more positive, be more good, if that's a way to be. So that if you do give inspiration to someone, it's because that's how you are.
Would it
That's
be
what
being more mindful? Is that the word you're looking for?
that could be. That could be. Yeah, that's one. But I keep thinking when I think of that one, it's like we don't know what action is going to be the one that will inspire someone. And
That's
it
true.
could be something as insufficient or insignificant as giving a drink of water to someone.
Or a
Big deal. You
smile.
gave a smile. There you go. That's even better.
Yeah.
A
Just that
smile.
one smile.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Yeah, and it's always good though because most times whenever people are actually dealing with this stuff, we're always thinking about ourselves. Best thing to do is always think about others, right? The more positivity that we actually bring forward to others and show them, the more enlightenment though that we will be. Like even if we're having a negative day, put that behind the wall or put that behind the book of your life and go forward from there.
But there you are. There are the 12 karmic laws. And take them, learn them, live them. And it does come back. Believe me, it does come back.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like I say, sometimes it's a 2x4. Sometimes it's as small as the flutter of a butterfly wing. And other times it's that 2x4 right up alongside your head. You can't miss it.
Yeah. And thank you much to our special guest Tatiana. Again, though, she's a spiritual person. Though she's really awesome. Though and again, though, how can people get in contact with you?
Basically you can email me at tatiana.dbcoach, and that's at gmail.com. And that's D as in the letter dream and B as in the letter builder. So that's tatiana.db for dream builder coach at gmail.com. It's to help build your dreams so that you can live the life that you were created to be, and that's how you get empowered.
Book for your private readings with Gypsy Lady Eva at gypsyladyeva49@gmail.com or book with Brother Chris at divineoraclereadings@gmail.com. You could have listened to the radio. You could have spun some vinyl. You could have played a cassette tape, but you listened to his Divine Oracle readings on Unique Spotify. Another great podcast to listen to is Haunting Live Podcast with your host Trevor, interviewing tons of people throughout the world. Listen on any of your podcast providers.